In this lesson, I want to explore the creation of user templates. We can see that I've logged on into the system as the system administrator, and I'm currently looking at the administration screens. If I navigate into the user area, you can see that I've got several options to allow me to start creating a new user. The first option directly is to manually create a new user, or I could import a batch of users using the Active Directory feature. The feature that I want to look at is much more associated with the facilitation of new users when it comes to adding them into the system on an ad hoc basis. And here you can see that when I'm creating a new user, I've got the option to select a user template. The idea of a user template is to speed up the selection and choice of the different options that are associated with the user. So here you can see that if I select customer care agent, for example, there would be several choices already pre-filled in on this screen, like the primary team and the territory that might be used. And we'll see that we can add in a lot more information about this when we come to create our own new template. So that's a process that I'm just going to go through now. I'm going to come out of the new user screen and look at creation of a user template. The user templates are found on the user screen, and you can see here that I'm going to click on the user templates option. So we've come into administration, users, user templates, and we can here search for existing templates. And we'll notice that the templates can then be searched for, they can be edited if necessary. So the actual structures and screens of a user template are very similar to the user screens if we were to have manually created a user without reference to a template. I'll come back to these screens in a moment, so I'm going to just come out of here and look at the process of creating my own new template. And so here I'm clicking on the new button within inside the administration users user template screen. This screen allows us to base our new template on existing templates as well. So here I'm going to create an example template to allow the speeding up of the entry of a new class of user who are European sales engineers. So I'm creating a new role within the organization, and I want to be able to base many of the features of this new template on the existing template for the sales rep. There will be some differences, and we'll start by making sure that the home territory for these sales engineers would be Europe. Other choices that we can make, we can make the choice about which team that they sit in and where the license type that should be used for this particular type of user. Now, all of these options can be overwritten within the user that is created from the template. And so we have to understand templates to be a templating model and not an inheritance model. So this is not fixing what it will be like. The children of this, the user records which are created, don't inherit these. It's only used as a template to allow the swift initial creation of those records. Well, once we're on this screen, it's here that we can make changes to the fields which are appropriate for the territory that we're in, the language that is being used, the currency that might be used for sales forecasting, for example. These are all very much to do with the role that the user who is within this team would actually be satisfying. So here I'm going to make sure that their display team above and beyond the direct sales is marketing and telesales. I might want to make other choices here. For example, do we want these new types of users to have access to CRM through mobile devices? So I'm going to imagine that, yes, they would want to have access through iPhones and Android devices. I can confirm the security profile that is being used. That's something that has been inherited from the previous template that was used. And we could have changed the security profile, or we could have added an existing other profile that we might want to choose separately at this point, but I'm happy to keep this as my sales rep profile. But I do want to change other items. So, for example, these sales engineers should be allowed to look at solutions within the system, and I may want to consider, if they had a commercial role, what their forecasting rights should be, whether or not they should have access through web services, and whether or not they should be able to work with groups as well. And I can also decide whether, as a type of user, that they should have some level of administration rights, and that's something that can be inherited and overridden within the user. I'm going to leave it as no administration rights here, and I'm just going to click on the continue. On this screen, these are the general settings and preferences for the user. So you can see here that the system administrator can be setting the general shape and usage of the system at the level of the individual as well. And these are preferences that could normally be overridden by the user themselves, but here they're being preset by the system administrator. The currency is an obvious choice to make, but you might also want to set up default email addresses if you have configured CRM to work with email aliases. You may want to create and use email templates as well as the standard email template for this particular type of user. So once you've made the choices as to the way in which the user should work, including things like the default find screens, etc., then we can save this, and this becomes then a new user template. That user template is immediately available for the administrator to be used when creating a new user. And we can see here that if I start to create a new user here, and I fill in the details, I can also, once the details have been filled in, I can then select the user template, and we can see that we're setting this person up to be a European sales engineer, and we see the team is set, the territory is set, the license is confirmed, and we can continue, and we can go on to confirm other details that are specific to the user. So all of these things can then be changed because they are individual to the user, including all the telephone rights, but many of the other items, like the security rights that we see down here, have been inherited from the template, though we can override them for this user. And this continues through. If we continue this, and we can go on and start to confirm the preferences for this user as well. Okay. We'll look at the details of the new user setup in another lesson. But here we've now saved our user, and their rights have conformed to the template that was created for them. So that ends our look at the usage of the user templates.